G'day Scrappers, welcome to a Cisco Scrapathon. Yay! Got a lot of Ciscos, but when I brought them in I thought they'll give them to me by another recycler. These are what I call the ones that John West rejected. So at the same time the buyer of switches and routers and all that, servers, was there, and yeah, these are all the ones that he wasn't prepared to buy. He said these are all too old, saying this to my guy, and so I sold a bunch of laptops and good PCs while I was there, and he had a couple of pallet loads of these rejected Cisco ones, and this one is actually one of the two that I had brand new, and I actually got more money for in here, the little things that go in. I can't remember what they're called, but I actually got twice as much just for them than I asked for the whole thing, including them. So well, ended up getting double my money and my Cisco back to scrap. So yeah, like I said, I got two of these, and yeah, it's it really is a shame that they just get too old too quick, and so they're just fan modules. So what can you do? I mean, it's if the buyer doesn't buy them, then all that's left is just treating them as end-of-life electronics. Okay, so we just got a kind of like a backplane board in a way. Yeah, just nothing, and that's where the fan modules I just took out of. It does have a couple of not so good BGAs, but it does have 3 gold band crystals, and in the end this will just be a mid-grade board. Yeah, it does have a ripper of a board, really nice big, and it's ready to go. It's got the RAM ready to go, but according to the buyer, or the on-seller, too old. They can't sell them, and yeah, can't really do much about it. I mean, if you can't sell them, you can't sell them. So what chance have I got trying to list things like this? If the main guy that's got the main server, switch, router clientele, if he can't sell them, then I'm certainly got no chance. But okay, let's have a look at the RAM. That'll sort of tell us. So obviously server grade. Okay. So they're 1 gigabyte RAM sticks. So I mean, he didn't even have to look twice. He said, "Ah, too old." And so there you go, 1 gigabyte RAM sticks. I mean, these should be 16 gig RAM sticks at least. 1 gigabyte doesn't even cut it in a basic PC these days, let alone in a server like this. So yep, makes sense. But these two are just mine. But the Ciscos that I'm scrapping today, I showed in a previous video half a van load of all Cisco routers and switches, but they all weren't all Cisco. I thought, because I saw so many Ciscos, I thought, oh, this is all Cisco. But there are other brands. There's HP and your regular switch kind of brands. So, but for the start, I'll at least get through at least one of every different Cisco I've got. But yeah, just not as many different ones as I thought. There are a lot of the same thing over and over. Okay, so, but yeah, you know, it is a shame, but you know, this stuff is, you know, they upgrade it so quickly, and just keeping up with the Joneses, nothing much you can do about it. So here we've got a CPU, so we'll get that. It's just an aluminium heatsink. You can usually tell when they're tin plated copper underneath is just the weight of them. That doesn't weigh up much. And yeah, we might as well get out the CPU, although to be honest, old school CPUs that, you know, the older ones that can't be unsold, they're not worth much more than actually just leaving them on the server board, to be honest. But I'll have a look at it, but I really doubt. You know, I bring a lot of my CPUs to my buyer, and you know, yeah, he'll take the good ones and he'll buy them, but you know, he does reject a lot, and you know, he's not in the business of rejecting stuff. He wants to have as much, you know, buy as much as he can, and there's no limit to what he would buy, but if he can't sell it, he can't buy it. So, but we've got a really decent weight. Like I said, I already sold these. If in a lot of the used ones that I get, I leave them in these modules because it does add a lot of weight. But sometimes you can just sell the modules on their own, get a few bucks each for them. But yeah, I just don't have the market for them, apart from selling some last week, the new ones. But it does have quite a few gold band crystals. I can see 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 7 gold band crystals. So that's my value. And then this is, you know, it's still, you know, probably get 15, 20 bucks as a scrap board. You know, that's all you can really do. I know, you know, I constantly get people giving me a hard time, you know, saying, oh, you know, oh, there you go, you know, you've just gotten $5 value. You know, I keep mentioning it because they just keep coming at me. They just don't understand the nature of the game. And you think, I mean, this is Australia. I mean, and you know, I'm assuming a lot of the comments are coming from guys from, say, America and stuff. Gosh, walk into an eWaste recycler in America, you know, not just a little part-timer or small time, I'm talking about a larger company. If you can get in, walk in and have a look, and that will give you an idea, because if you think we're throwing away junk here, my gosh, you can multiply by 100 in America. So we're talking thousands of tons of e-waste going through each larger company every month. Thousands of tons, and I'm not exaggerating. So there we go. It's just it's a nice board, but it's just a pretty blank board. So it's just a mid-grade or a peripheral board in the States. But you know, you can pinch the gold band crystals if that's your thing. Otherwise, you can just leave them on if it's not. You can see the 2 BGAs there, the silicon top BGAs. Very, very little gold recovery, almost not worth it. I don't even buy these individually, you know. But still, mid-grade board. All right. Well, that was quick and easy. The hardest work out of that one that I just did is the box and the packaging material that I've got to deal with. So here's a few of the Ciscos that I've got. There's only what, probably 5 or 6 different ones out of these. There's a few doubles and triples, but yeah, they're the bigger ones. And then I've got all these 800 series Ciscos, and that's, you know, quite a stack of 800 series. So there's over 50 of these bigger ones, and then you got the smaller 800 series, and there's about 25 of them as well. So that's why when I had them all in the van, they were just everywhere, and I thought, oh, this is all Cisco stuff. But that's the reason why, is because there's so many of the same thing, and there's no point in me you know, scrapping on video, you know, 10 of the same model, because you might as well just put one on loop. But there are a lot of other kind of switches and PABX boxes, a lot of brands. So depending on how long this video goes, we'll see if we get onto anything else. But I really wanted this to be just purely a Cisco Scrapathon. So that's the smallest little Cisco unit I've got here. Cisco Small Business RV042. Yeah, just a little router, 4-port router. Yeah, not much to that, but since we're here, let me just zoom in. We might as well have a look at it. And yeah, we're in winter here, but it's the most glorious winter day you'd ever imagine. You wouldn't think it's winter. So this is my perfect day. It's about 21, 22 degrees Celsius. So what's that? I don't know, 40 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. It's just absolutely perfect. What a day. So can't complain about that. Alright, so we just got a basic mid-grade board. I just had my got one of my batteries on charge, so for the other drill, but I can use this. So if you're scrapping a lot of e-waste, I recommend having 2 drills going, and with the 2 different size Phillips heads. So that one's the P1 and this one's the most common one, the P2. I used to only just use the P2, and then I'd have a handheld P1 screwdriver, but it's just so much easier, and so, you know, like when you've got P1 and P2 going at the same time, and then if I need to switch over to a extension with a Torx bit, I can do that as well. But alright, well, this one's a little bit oddball. Don't see the 4300 series here much. Oh, I don't get them anyway, as much as the others. It's had the could be the, yeah, it looks like the power supply or some kind of module taken out already. I think I might have to zoom back out. Yeah, but I tell you, I've been quite busy. I have been doing a lot of smaller pickups, so you just got to do the small pickups, accept the jobs. If you know, that's all you're getting, and just in case, like, sometimes a small job turns into a bigger job down the track. You know, they said, oh, we used this guy last time and now we've got a much bigger stack, we'll call him again, and yeah, sometimes it can turn out good, whereas as well as Cisco's that get rejected and turn into scrap, and I get them like that. You know, the bigger e-waste recyclers, the ones, well, you know, they're bigger because they advertise a lot more, and they have factories and quite a lot of staff. So yeah, as well as getting scrap that is not sellable, because these recyclers are not into processing e-waste. They're mainly just all about repurposing and getting you know, it's kind of easy money in a way, you know. The scrap is, you know, last resort usually, and yeah, they don't take the time to scrap stuff out, because if you're a mid-range recycler, it's really, you know, hard to make it worthwhile if you're paying someone just to scrap out, unless you're doing it really big and you got good deal as far as precious metal recovery. So you're sending your stuff to a refiner and all that kind of jazz. So, but for me, you know, that's what I chose to do. Is you know, back in the day, I was more into, you know, for me it was all about recycling and a way to get precious metals, you know, gold recovery, you know. It took a couple of years before I started to learn about things that I could sell, and, you know, slowly getting different buyers contacting me. So it's just a mounted CPU kind of on there. I do have to take off that fan. A bit of rubber. Doesn't, just leaves a blank board. But yeah, see, you might think, oh, this should go as a telecom or a server grade. Being Cisco, being what it is, it's really nothing on there, you know, to be honest. It's really just a mid-grade board, unfortunately. Yeah, there's just not enough on. There's so much blankness. Yeah, you can't really sell them as high-grade, you know, high-grade board here in Australia anyway. All right. Well, got a few of these 1800 series as opposed to the 800s. Actually, while I'm here, I might as well do one of each of the 800 series. Got so many here, I've got to make a start on them anyway. So we'll do the two different versions. Don't know why. You know, they're both 800 series. They might pair up. Ethernet and, yeah, something a bit more, but they're pretty much the very similar kind of thing. So we'll check them out. Yeah, so like I said, I've been reasonably busy. I've had a, you know, I get the odd really nice pickup. I did have a great pickup. I didn't take my camera along. It was an airline, head office of a international airline, and yeah, they had quite a lot actually, and really good PCs. I was quite surprised, like i5 8th generation. They were nice. Yeah, and all up, there was about, no, probably 25 PCs, and then about a dozen really good laptops, and then a whole heap of other things. It was a huge job, and it was right in the heart of the city. Probably the worst street as far as if you want to park and out in the street in loading zone. So, and especially because there was quite a lot of trips. They were like on the 19th floor. So, although it was a really express elevator. All right, yeah, that you know, that's a nice board, but you know, me, I'd tend to remove a couple of the BGAs and the gold band and bring it down more to a peripheral board. It's just on, you know, it's, you can't really call this again a server grade board or a really good high grade board. It's technically higher, but you know, this is just the problem we've got is just trying to you know, grade things, because we don't have many grades here, and it's just too complicated to try and grade every board like totally individually. So we just have general grades, and yeah. Hey, Chook's in. What's happening, man? My girl, I should say. Yep, it's Cisco Day. Okay, so we'll just work out how to get into this, won't we? The chicken knows it's Cisco Day. It knows when I've got the good stuff. Don't eat crumbles. Not healthy for you. So it's kind of this board's kind of, you know, very similar to, you know, the last board I was trying to sort of grade. It's good, but it's just not good enough to go server. Whereas the bigger Ciscos, you know, usually they're always good server grade. That one? Okay. Yeah. So, but things are going good. I am a bit overloaded with stuff. I've really got to continue processing as quick as I can before the next round of pickups come through. I have been advertising a little bit more, so paying a little bit more for Google sort of well, being up on Google a bit more. Not a lot, but it has brought in a lot more calls. But unfortunately, I get a lot of, you know, waste of time calls. Oh, I'll tell you about a call I had yesterday. You wouldn't believe it, or the day before. Yeah, so once again, this is a mid-grade board. Can't really pinch much because it's very blank, doesn't have any gold bands. So yeah, unfortunately, they're just a good mid-grade board. I might pinch the gold corner BGA, but that's it. If I took any more off, it wouldn't look very good. So that's the two 800 series, and yeah, and believe it or not, they kind of weigh about the same, because this is a bit more populated, I suppose. Yeah, pretty much just good mid-grade boards that we probably can pinch a chip off each one. Oh well, I've got about 75 more of these ones to go. Yeah, and this pickup, not a pickup, a call that I had the other day. Well, a woman calls me and says, and she was sort of hesitant to, you know, ask, and I said, okay, what's going on? She goes, oh, do you pick up, do you recycle adult toys? She didn't say adult toys, she called them, you know, sex toys or whatever, you know. And I said, oh, very unusual call. And I thought, no. I said, look, it's basically, they're basically plastic, you know, and you know, I'd imagine they would just go in with contaminated plastic to be recycled, and you could, you know, I said, how, you know, I thought maybe she was like part of a business or something that had a large stock of them that they wanted to get rid of, but no, it was just a private caller, and she only had two. I thought, oh, okay. I said, oh well, look, you know, you're probably best off just putting them into the recycling bin, and yeah, once the recycling company, you know, empty your bin and they go through the stuff, they probably see a lot of them, you know, over time, and so they probably know exactly what to do with them. They might have a bin to put in mixed rubbery plastics or whatever, not really sure. I've certainly never thought about it, or thankfully never gotten any in pickups, you know, but yeah, how's that? What a strange call. And so with my little extra advertising, I seem to attract small and oddball jobs. Unless, you know, other recyclers are just mucking around with me, and when they call them, they say, "Oh no, this guy, call him, he'll pick it up." Yeah, well, I don't know, but no. And at the end I said, okay, you know, and yeah, sorry, I can't do the job. And I said, oh, by the way, did you at least have fun with him before you're getting rid of him? And she goes, oh yeah, yeah, I had fun. Yeah, okay, good on you. Nice little decent board. These obviously don't go. Sometimes I'll see boards like this, people throw them into PCI cards, slot cards, gold finger cards. They don't have gold fingers, so obviously they can't go. If they did have a row of gold fingers, yep, no problem. But they are a you know, kind of a decent board anyway, but still only a mid-grade board. Well, here my mid-grade boards are also, you know, it's a combination of mid-grade and higher grade, and so that's why I pay a little bit more for mid-grades than what others might. So it does have a 1 gold band there, so you can always pinch that. Yeah, once you start to get in the bigger Ciscos, a lot of them are flathead screwdrivers or a mixture like this. So it does take a lot longer, but now that's, you know, so that's now a board that we can call a high grade, a real proper high grade board, a server grade board. So we can throw these into server grade, obviously. A lot more populated with really good chips. That's basically what we want. Get rid of the little battery, and a bonus RAM stick. Yeah, it's a kind of a RAM, 128 megabyte, so it's not really it's probably just RAM for the to run the board. Bit of memory for something. There's also RAM ICs here, memory ICs, a couple gold bands, yeah, and the rest we just throw this straight into a nice server grade board. Can't complain with that. So they're good. I've got 3 of them. We also get a little bonus power supply. I bought 2 different packets of extension Torx, because they either, you know, wear out or always lose the main one that I need. So I bought a couple of variations. This is the cheaper packet, and then I'll save the better ones for a while. Just gotta, must be this one. Sometimes just gotta put it in so I can turn it by hand. Alright, tiny little power supply, and just a bit of wire off the fan. That's all we want. Alright, so don't know if I mentioned this brand, 1800 series, yeah. So got a few of them, and then we've got some bigger ones. Got quite a few of these 3560Cs or Gs, 3560 Gs. So 48 ports. Usually the more ports, the board is more intense, obviously a lot more weight, so that's all good. Let me just zoom out of this. and unscrew. Don't know why they put in flatheads. It would be a lot easier if they, because everything is pretty much Phillips now, so I don't know why they just can't use Phillips in these Ciscos. Then we go to the side, and they're Phillips. So I just don't get, and especially the boards themselves. When you got 10 or 12 flathead screws, I mean, maybe they just don't like anyone playing around with their things, and they think, oh, well, if you're gonna play around with it, it's going to take you a long time. Don't know why. Oh, that's what we're talking about. So at least we've got some decent scrap value here with a really nice size board that we can obviously, let me just get in. Sell as a servo grade board, and yeah, so this is what I mean. There's like a dozen screws, and they're all flathead, and it's just, it would just make it so much easier if they just used Phillips. Don't get it. And then the power supply board, it's got Phillips. Maybe they just got a good deal on Phillips head screws. But I'm sure that, Cisco technicians that have to pull out boards and stuff, they must be fed up with it too. But I'd imagine, yeah, sorry, what am I thinking? They're obviously not using flathead. They're probably using a drill bit with a hex nut on it, and they're doing that. Going from the outside of the screw rather than this flathead part is probably a last resort. Although they could still do Phillips and do both. I still don't get why it would be, but I'd imagine there would be like Cisco technicians, they would have the perfect tool for the job that's specially designed, because it's got a little hex, and so no doubt there. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh, amazing. My battery went flat, as it normally does, but you might be hearing me a little bit louder at the moment. I actually, running my first battery, I forgot to connect the, the microphone thing to the camera. The main microphone base. And I only realized that when I was changing the battery, I thought, oh, hang on, the microphone's not connected to the cable. And so I don't really even know how the audio is going to kind of sound now. I dare say it wouldn't be too good, because it would be coming off the actual camera microphone, and so because I'm a bit away from the camera, I'd imagine it's going to be a muffled sound, and yeah, not very good at all. But oh well, during the editing process, I'll try and increase the volume, so it's going to probably sound a bit weird the first part of the video, but now I've got the actual microphone connected in, so my goodness. But yeah, so these are awesome because simply the weight, right? You get really good value. Sure, there's a lot of chips under these heat sinks. I can actually leave these heat sinks on. Just won't touch it at all. Maybe just pinch this gold band crystal, and another one there, but that's it. And so it's this part here that really gives you a lot of the weight. And yeah, so, and really it does have gold pins in there, but it's compared to what they pay per kilo for boards like this is dead weight, you know. But they will get, you know, precious metal recovery from all the chips under these heat sinks, as well as along there. There'll be BGAs all along there. So yeah, it is what it is. Awesome, you know. So this size Cisco is really, really good for scrap value. As you know, unfortunately, we have to scrap these out because there's no value. And here we've just got a power board that, because it's got a lot of aluminium and copper on there, I can, and it's only quite small, I can get away with throwing this into like irony alley if I'm gonna be able to get it out. One screw is stubborn, but when there's only one screw, that won't come out good. Usually we can just break out the board. Yeah, wow. There's always something that goes wrong when I'm filming, you know. Battery goes out right at the time when I'm in a conversation that I forget by the time I go in and get distracted and put a new battery in. I've forgotten what I've been speaking about until I start editing the video and think, oh, that's right. Forgot all about that. There we go. Because it's a real chunky, it's not much board compared to, you know, all the aluminium heat sinks. I'm not going to buy, it's too tight to try and take out all the aluminium and stuff, and they get a lot of copper coils. I'll just throw this into irony alley. Can get away with one or two here and there, but if you start throwing in like 10 or 15 power boards into irony alley, then it's more, you know, it's more circuit board stuff, and we don't get much for circuit boards here at the scrapyard, you know, like scrap circuit boards. Yeah, so now this one is another kind of oddball one. You don't get these in bulk. So the last one I did, I'm pretty sure, was the 3560G, which I've got quite a lot of, which is good. But yeah, the ASA 5520, it looks like a good thing. And for those that are recycling eWaste and thinking, well, which Cisco's, depends on, that you can sell, depends on which, what country you're in. Obviously in the States, with, you know, so many people, there are still people that are prepared to upgrade, you know, or not, you know, just basic upgrades, or replace what they've already got, or repair what they've already got. But here in Australia, we've got a very small population, and I think it's because we get, or businesses get, good incentives at tax time to upgrade their technology, and so they're not, you know, they're not going to bother with old technology, and especially if you're running a bigger business that relies on this kind of equipment. It's all about the service agreement and the warranties, and you know, when you've got a service agreement, they upgrade when things need to be upgraded, and that's part of what they pay for. And so, yeah, here in Australia, all this sort of stuff becomes end of life. It's pretty much over. But we've got a, you know, beautiful card here, or board if you like. let me get in. But yeah, as far as, you know, Cisco is concerned, everything Cisco is good, you know. So we've got a bit of, you know, copper tubing running through. Might be able to just get away with this being a copper aluminium radiator, although there's really not much copper. And yeah, that's aluminium. So it's only that part, these two tubes, that are actually the copper. So, but yeah, really nice board. Got a CPU, just one with pins. So again, I remove the copper heatsink. Goes as tinned copper, which is what it is. And then once you've taken off the heatsink, you got yourself a green fibre, more or less. And so we've got our nice gold pins and MLCCs in there. But all we really want is the gold pins. And a couple of ram sticks, so you know, can't complain with that sort of stuff. Yeah, not even worth bothering with. Take the battery out. So yeah, obviously it's a great board. It's kind of like a motherboard, but it actually goes as a server grade. Beautiful big BGA here, a couple of little ones, and oh, didn't really need to do that, but whatever. So again, these silicon top BGAs just don't have any gold recovery value really for a backyard processor. There's just not enough for a recycler or a refiner, where they shred up this whole board and it all just goes in. You've got tantalum all over it, gold recovery, nice BGAs. You know, they're not just going for the gold and silver, platinum, palladium. They're going for the copper, the aluminium, the rhodium and ruthenium, and whatever else they can get. So they get about 15 or 16 different metals out of this, including steel, and then they're left with fiberglass and plastic, which they can probably sell as well. Okay, so that's that card. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been really fortunate in the last couple of weeks by just getting a few really good pickups, really good value stuff that I can resell, and that's the name of the game. Been in the game for nearly 10 years now, and you know, so you know, eventually you do learn what you can sell and what doesn't, and at the same time, you know, like I get probably 10 emails, probably 10 a week, emails and calls from, well, people all over the world wanting to buy eWaste, whether it's for scrap or whether it's good stuff. And so lately I've had a few new guys that are local to me, because obviously I don't have the facilities or the interest in shipping overseas. I leave that to other people. So, you know, I've come in contact with a couple of new guys in the last couple of weeks that do that. You know, buy stuff that they can then take it overseas and sell it overseas, because for a lot of older things, relatively new, but you know, just a little bit out of date here in Australia, they can still get good value for overseas in, you know, countries like Africa and India and Pakistan and many countries, Asian countries, you know, like Malaysia and so on, they can still get pretty good money for them once they recondition them. So yeah, so I have a lot more buyers now than I used to. Obviously I still got my board buyer, which has remained the same since day one. No reason to change, even though I don't get like anything special in prices. I get the same as, you know, every other recycler gets, you know. Maybe for their bigger clients, they probably even get more than I do, because, you know, if I wasn't buying boards off other scrappers, you know, I wouldn't be really that big. It would be like once every 6 months that I sent in boards, and that's really not nothing spectacular for this guy, because they've grown really big, probably a bit big for their own boots. You know, it's even hard to contact them these days. They're just too busy, and I'm too small, I guess. That's a really nice extrude aluminium heatsink, actually. Beautiful piece. Okay, so we've got something similar. Quite strange, isn't it, that this card came out of it. It had a CPU and a couple of RAM sticks, all the whole kit and caboodle, really. But this card here, the main board, has pretty much the same thing. Another CPU with pins identical, and a couple more RAM. So quite a strange setup. A little bit bigger RAM, nice chunky. What are they? 256 meg. So it just shows you just the age and just how out of date it is. You can leave that on. So once again, I'll throw this into a server grade board. Nice server grade board. A couple of BGAs under there and there. But yeah, it's this nice big one here, and these gold corner BGAs, really good for them. Lots of tantalum. Awesome. So that is a really nice system, and really nice high value. I suppose that's how it went. Really nice high value boards there, and scrap value for the whole thing. And not to mention, obviously, with Cisco stuff, even the housings are pretty good weight, as far as, you know, it's only scrap steel, but at the moment, you know, scrap steel is good value. So yeah, it all adds up. Hey, not like back in the day when I first started recycling e-waste. Scrap metal was a really important part as well for the business to start up. And at the time when I started and I was doing all my maths, you know, scrap steel was about 16 cents a kilo, you know, 18 cents. Sometimes it got to 20. But that's basically, it was a really important part of the business. You know, because you get a lot of scrap steel. It's just a power supply. And so that was, you know, the scrap steel at that time, that was, you know, relied upon, because for just my weekly turnover. But about a year into the business, scrap steel went down to 4 cents. So from 16 cents a kilo down to 4 cents a kilo. And then at one stage, scrapyards weren't even buying it. You know, they would give you the old, you can drop it off if you want, but yeah, we're not going to actually buy it. So, because it just went so low. And so it made it hard, because I was, you know, relying so much on that extra, you know, it might have been a couple $100 worth of scrap steel a week. You know, and that made all the difference. That paid for the fuel and just, you know, kept me running. so I can, because at that stage I didn't have buyers for good stuff like good laptops, good PCs, RAM, and all the little things that we can sell, you know, nothing like today. So yeah, I was scrapping a lot more than I was selling, and so I had to, even at that stage I was trying to sell a little bit on eBay, but it just becomes such a nightmare, so I had to give that up. But this is a Cisco Catalyst 2960G. So these ones were the 3560Gs. So just a step down there, less ports. So yeah, we had to virtually give away because I couldn't keep scrap steel, you know, in the hope for it to get some value again, because, you know, where am I going to store tons of scrap steel? So, you know, I had to get rid of it. It's basically my byproduct from scrapping stuff, and, you know, it was really, you know, you have to get rid of it to have room to bring in the good stuff. And so, yeah, there were times when I had to virtually waste my time just to send it off for free, virtually. It didn't happen very often, but for quite a while there, it was only 4 cents a kilo, and it's, tell you, it's really, you know, what's that? $40 a ton. To load up a ton into the van alone takes a few hours, and then a half an hour to unload it for $40. So you spent half a day, you know, and that $40, well, okay, well, it might have been enough fuel for the week at least, but you still had to spend half the day just at the scrapyard for for virtually nothing. So now we got prices, you know, 44 cents a kilo, I think I'm getting at the moment. So instead of $40 a ton, I'm getting $440 a ton. So that makes a big difference, you know, and it certainly helps just in the turnover of just, not turnover, just cash flow, you know, every, you know, day to day. So even if I take in a ton every two weeks, even 3 weeks, still $440 is still okay, considering that's just my rubbish, you know, and so it certainly keeps me on the road, and yeah, pays for a few things. So yeah, but that's just the game, you know. Don't know how, you know, scrap is going to, you know, go in the near future. I've had someone ask me about silver again, and what do I think of silver. I think it was in my last video. I don't have a much of an opinion on silver, because I don't really keep up to date with the markets and that. I mean, I kind of do. I do know a bit about, you know, silver and that. It's currently it's about $24 US an ounce. Probably went up to about $27 US, more around, you know, recently in the last few months, about $26 US. So it's around there, and it's because the Australian dollar is very low compared to the US. It's a pretty high price here in Australia. So if you need the money, you know, you're not doing too bad selling silver now. But obviously, for most people that are stacking silver, they're not looking at $20-30 an ounce. You know, they're hoping for something big to happen eventually, because, you know, the price has been manipulated for so long. Something's got to give eventually. But, you know, at the same time, the argument is, well, if it's been manipulated for so long, it could continue to be manipulated for, you know, forever. So it's really hard to say with silver. I mean, gold is a different thing because, you know, if I had a lot of money in the bank, I'd rather take that money out and put it into a bit of gold. But, you know, I wouldn't, you know, the problem with gold and silver is it's like having cash at home. And do you really want to have cash that much, you know, or gold and silver lying around your home? Sure, hobby level, but, you know, some people make a lot of money, and if they invest a lot of money into gold and silver, especially gold, it doesn't take up much space. But, you know, if you're storing it off-site in a bullion vault or something like that, there are even a couple of them here in Melbourne. You know, well, you know what they say, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So, you know, but they're pretty safe. So it's a nice board. You've got your Cisco BGAs here. Nice, a lot of BGAs all over. Really high grade board. It's a server grade. Obviously, it's not high enough to call telecom. A couple of gold band crystals for me. But yeah, another high grade board. Obviously, it would have been nice to have a couple of more of these just to add more weight. But yeah, it's still pretty good, and I wouldn't touch this as far as removing any chips because I don't want to bring it down to a mid-grade board. I want to sell it as a good high-grade board. So yeah, that's pretty good. Can't complain with that one. And that's it. That's done. And like I said, good heavy scrap metal. It all adds up, guys. And it's good, clean scrap metal. I think that's the last thing. I've got a pile of switches and routers, but you know, and no doubt there's probably Cisco stuff. Here's one. I got one. There's probably more different Cisco ones, but I can't find many at the moment. But I just found one. 1941 series. Interesting. So got some cards at the front. Just got to remove these brackets since we're here and we're doing, you know, Cisco thing. Hang on. I think I'm being called in. Just a minute. People coming in and out. I should have one of those lights, you know, on air. So when the light's on, don't disturb. I don't scrap really intensely like I used to, so you know, I'm pretty cash scrapping, even making videos, you know, just pretty cash. Just, the job gets done eventually. There's no rush for anything. These are just blanks. Always, you know, prefer to get some nice cards, you know, instead of just nothing. But we get what we get. See what the board's like on this thing. So it'll be interesting to see this week how many new calls I get, and still want my, you know, semi-regular clients to call as well. You know, they're very important, as well as getting, well, you know, new clients. We want new ones, especially good ones that turn over a decent amount of eWaste. Yeah. Still got some good weight here. Power supply. Bit of a nothing power supply. Doesn't have any cords or anything. Technically, I can't throw this. I throw power supplies into Iron Alley as long as they've got the cable still attached. But with these ones, because they don't have the cable, I mean, I could take off and hook it up, and suppose we can get away with it being irony alley, but nah, doesn't really matter. Get this fan out. Good. Nice fan. Was nice. Scrap metal now. And yeah, I've got to go to a scrapyard actually this week. I've got wire and all kinds of bits building up. Just need to empty my bins again. I hate not having empty bins, especially if I do pickups where there's a lot of small stuff and the van's just loaded with that. It's much easier when I've got empty wheelie bin that I can just throw everything from the van into the bin and bring it in and stuff. Constantly being distracted. Yeah, this one is a strange board. There's really nothing on it. Yeah, wow. It's a... you can't really call this, you know, server grade board because there's just nothing on it really. You know, BGA little one there, you know, probably one under there, but yeah, not much to this kind of board. It's just one of those. Yeah, can't go as high grade or a server high grade. We get what we get. So that was the 1900 series. Nothing spectacular, these ones. And considering they're so chunky, I thought maybe something half decent. Yeah, I think I can't get to some Ciscos that I can see. They're right loaded underneath, but here's one that's interesting. Okay, so that was mostly the Cisco Marathon. Yeah, I got enough battery, I think, to do this Samsung one. I don't get many Samsung switches, or, well, this is what, an Office Serve 7200, whatever that is. So, more like a server maybe, but since we're done, I thought, well, we might as well throw in a bonus oddball item, because like I said, I just don't, I don't think I've ever got this model, and much in the way of Samsung in this sort of stuff. Don't know, take off the steel. And then, yeah, I've just got multiples and multiples of the Cisco stuff, as like I showed you, the 800 series, you know, got 75 of them or something. But that's, yeah, just want to have a quick little look here. Okay. Well, yeah, the cards are okay. They got 4 gold band crystals, which is good for me. But then it's just a mid-grade board anyway. Nothing spectacular. Certainly couldn't put it into server. That's a bit better. Might be able to get away with this one in the server because it's just more populated. You know, whereas this one, it could have had more flat packs. It would have been a lot better then, but it's just not enough. Whereas this one's much better. So see if we can get away with that one being a higher grade. Yeah, it's almost, you know, yeah, I mean, completely blank back. Yeah, I'd say that's just mid-grade, but still quite a weird system. This one might be all right if I can get it. Don't know why. Okay, it's got a couple of daughter cards on top. Still not a... The actual card doesn't have any chips on either side apart from these tiny little ones. So this is, again, it's just going to be a mid-grade board. I can't see any more value in it. So yeah, still mid-grade, but hey, and an empty one. And we've got a well, it's a backplane board under there, but there's not much to it really. We're going to have a power supply unit here. Oh, just have a quick look what's hidden. So yeah, but I've got so many other switches that I'm going to have to get onto them really quickly in the next couple of days, as well as still getting a lot of UPSs coming through and servers, a lot of things to scrap actually at the moment. It's never ending. Okay, yeah, just a big power supply module. Not really sure how this one's coming. There we go. Oh. Well, at least it's encased in nice aluminium, so we can still. I'm going to throw this into Iron Alley just as it is. You know, I could dismantle it, get the aluminium, and then got the board. There's just some transformers and capacitors in there, so I'll just throw this whole box into Iron Alley. Nice and easy. And this backplane board, well, since this one doesn't look too hard, I might as well get it. We'll have a look. You know, it's not going to be a high value backplane board. Sometimes backplane boards can go as server grade. This one at best will probably go as a mid-grade board. But it didn't look like it had much in the way of plugs on the other side. This side's completely blank. Let me just get it out. Fan module. Okay. Okay, and a big old chunk of scrap steel. Okay, so here's our little backplane board, and yeah, they're nice gold pins, but they're not. It's not really high enough to go as a server grade backplane board. So this one, I'm just going to throw it into mid grade. Be done with it. I'll even leave the plugs on it as it is. Yeah, does have nice gold pins, but too small for me to bother with. If it was the high grade ones where you got really nice long gold pins and lots of them going through the board, I usually keep them, use the air gun to take the pins off, because they're yeah, good gold recovery, them ones. All right, well, we've got lots of interesting boards of different grades, and some really high, nice, some good weight ones, some average mid-grade boards. These cards, I think there was only one card, yeah, this one, that we can get away with being a higher grade board. The rest of them all just mid-grade, but still, it all adds up. Hey, yeah, wow. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't have as many different Cisco units that I thought I might have had, but that's how it goes. So these will get monotonous after a while. Anyway, guys, I got to go. The battery's going down. So keep scrapping. Hope that was a bit of fun, and I'll catch you real soon. Maybe with a switch scrap out next. Maybe a scrap yard visit. Catch you next time.